This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hi, this is Handsome Max Zero, and you're listening to the sexiest podcast, Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today. Interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rose Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J., alongside Scooter Dust.
You know, you gotta wonder, will glass coffins be a success? Well, it remains to be seen.
And it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with the Himbo himself, the Him Boss, the handsome one, party throwing bodies, the funny cheese man, cute butt, the handsomer of all, too cute Scorpio, wowie wow wow, not from North Carolina, the attractive attraction, handsome Max Zero.
I think glass coffins are a great idea. If glass houses are any indication of how well that goes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys?
I'm good.
Good.
Very good.
And can you tell us what you got coming up?
Hey. So, what's coming up for the Himbo? So on Sunday the 25th, if any of your listeners are in the Ohio area, I'm going to be on the Heavy Hitters tournament that's put on by Paradigm Pro Wrestling. Come watch me win a tournament. I'm going to absolutely crush all those uggos that they got booked on that match. And other than that, I don't have too terrible much else coming up. I try to take the summer off, and we're getting into the fall season, but that's the most recent thing, towards the end of September.
Alright, and where can we find you on social media and merchandise if you got?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter at HandsomeMax0, naturally, and on Instagram you can also find me at the same username at HandsomeMax0. And if you want to buy any of my cute merch, it is at brainbustertees.com, and you can also find that by searching Handsome Max Zero as well.
Alright, and all of those links will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox for anybody that wants to click them after this interview.
Very nice.
Alright, now you work for Wrestlers Lab in Paradigm. Can you tell us about your relationship with those companies?
It's really interesting. I love Paradigm, but Paradigm's a very interesting story where I came into Paradigm not booked during their second Contender season. And I was there with Shay McCoy and Athma Ramada, who were both part of this, were both part of the tournament that they had going on. And they just threw me in a match.
The Big City 8?
No. This is for Paradigm.
Okay.
Big City 8 was Invictus. But for Paradigm, they were doing a, cruiserweight tournament.
Okay.
And I just, on a whim, went up with Shay and Athram, and they just threw me in a random exhibition match. And they liked it so much that I've been on every show since for Blue Brand. And yeah, I enjoy it. I love it. I think if you're looking for a style that's not done a lot on the indies, if you're looking for that UWF, that old Japan, all Japan feel of shoot fights, I would highly recommend going to check out both Paradigm brands, both Red Brand and Blue Brand. And then for Wrestlers Lab, that was another case of I just kind of showed up, and I got put in a 4-way, and ever since then I've been pretty much on every show. Like, I just try to go in, do the work that I need to do. I enthrall all the bookers with how handsome I am, and I work from there.
So you're saying showing up and being handsome has benefited you greatly?
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of I haven't. We'll probably get into this a little bit later, but I did used to wear a lucha mask,
Yes.
and it wasn't until after I took that off that like a lot of places were like, "Oh, we can use this." Like, everywhere needs a handsome guy, right? Like, everywhere in the world could be better off if there was one handsome guy in every location. So like, and I've really worked with that, and I've made a brand based off of that works for me.
Right, and 9 out of 10 people that wear a mask are usually pretty handsome underneath that.
Yes, that is an accurate statistic. It's 9 out of 10. If they're wearing a mask, there's a good chance that they are unbelievably attractive.
Of course, that's why they have to wear the mask.
Yeah, that's why you got to put on that iron mask to hide that face from the world. It's too beautiful.
Scooter, you have a question.
Quick question. Do you currently have a shirt that says "Show up, be handsome, leave"?
I do not, but I should.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to ask that. Now, when somebody researches you, they might not pay attention to a certain little detail, but the devil is in the details with me, and you spell 0 in all capital letters. Why?
Yes. One, it's a throwback to the old character I used to do, which was just called Zero. And I believe that's a throwback to, like, not really a throwback, but more of it was an homage to that style of, like, whenever you see, like, an All Japan or New Japan, whenever they're like, we're going to spell out this person's name, it's always in all caps.
Yes.
Like, if you ever see, like, if you're ever watching New Japan and there's a Kenta match, it's always spelled in all caps.
Yeah.
Sometimes with an exclamation point.
Yeah, sometimes with an exclamation point, especially if he's on his book tour right now.
Yes.
He hasn't paid me to say that, but I'll sponsor his book tour. Let's go. Yeah, and it's kind of stemmed from that, where it was like the single name wrestler that's all caps from that like generation and that style of wrestling.
So, do you expect a real emphasis to be put on the last name whenever you're introduced?
No, because most people forget that my first name is Handsome. So,
well, none of you will ever forget from now on. Remember this.
Now,
Max is the middle name. Remember it.
Now since we're, on this topic, you did work underneath a mask called Name Zero.
Yep.
Now, I feel like, working under a mask is so underappreciated for, what comes out of it. So could you tell us about, the advantages and disadvantages of being a masked wrestler?
First thing with my mask is that I was very lucky that I had a mouth on my mask. A lot of wrestlers have like just a full mesh that goes over. I at least had a mouth that was by my mouth. The only thing that was bad about my mask is that the only places that had slits where I could breathe or see out of were my eyes and mouth. I had my nose fully covered by that mask. So like sometimes like breathing, like I got very conscious of the fact that while I wore the mask, I was breathing out of my mouth a lot. Because like there was nothing but fabric between my nose and like the life-giving air that I would need. So like a lot of it was breathing through my mouth. But a good advantage is that, and something that I've had to work for a lot, is when I do promos and when I'm doing like character stuff in the ring. I have to be more expressive with my face and also where I'm looking. Because I got in this really bad habit because my mask had my eyes covered, that I would focus on the fact that my face was pointing towards the camera and that my eyes looked like they were at the camera. And I got in this bad habit where my eyes would kind of dart around everywhere as I was talking.
Mm.
And I wasn't looking at the camera, but because I had the eyes, they looked like I was looking forward. So a lot of the advantages of having a mask are, one, it's a lot of fun to play a character that no one knows who you are and you can kind of do whatever you want with. It's also a lot of fun to just have that air of mystery about you, like, who is this mysterious man? Is he handsome under there? 9 out of 10 are. Is this the one who isn't? And yeah, a lot of the disadvantages are stuff like I know a lot of people really like the Zero mask. I was never really a fan of how it looked. I felt like it was a lot going on that mask.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen it.
Yes.
But like, yeah. Like all the props in the world for people who wrestle in masks, because it restricts your breathing even if you have that like mesh or you have an open mouth. Like you have that restriction of sight. And yeah, I just have all the respect for a lot of my friends who still wrestle in masks.
Alright. Scooter, you have a question.
Yeah, early career. Within, at least according to my research, within the first year of your career, you're fighting in the Young Lions Cup, a tournament that some would even equate on the same level with the ECWA Super 8. How did it feel being relatively new to the business and yet competing in a tournament that a lot of talent, past and present, hold in very high regard?
It was really cool because so when I started out at Chikara, my first show that I saw was the previous year's Young Lions Cup, which was the year that Still Life won. And like, I just loved it. I love a good tournament. Like, I want to be in more tournaments. Like, if any of you bookers are out there listening, Handsome Max Zero loves a good tournament. But it was really like, it was kind of scary because I got powered through the Chikara system. Not in the sense of like I got rushed through it, but I moved through that system very fast. So like I went like 7 months training at Chikara to debuting as a legacy character to debuting that legacy character in one of their most renowned tournaments. And not only debuting, but winning my first round match and making it to the semifinals. It meant a lot. Like, it was extremely humbling to know that a lot of the people who I look up to in wrestling now, people who I look up for like guidance from Chikara and from all the other places I go to, are people who were either in or won that tournament.
All right. I love it. James.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about your rivalry with Devantes? Because it does seem like there is, an on shuffling on type scenario there.
He's just a... Okay, look, here's the thing with Devantes. We were two people who debuted relatively close to each other who both claimed to be the hardest hitting person at our promotion. And like, that's naturally going to cause a little bit of rivalry. It doesn't hurt that he's a bitch. And I've beaten him every chance that I have. But like, yeah, it's just kind of a pride thing at this point. It's like, what we don't like each other because we both claim to be the hardest hitting person. It's like if another podcast came in and was like, "Oh no, we're a way better podcast than you," even though we came in at the same exact time. Like, no, you're going to be a little bit bitter at that person or that podcast. Like, it doesn't hurt that he's never beaten me. And he still likes to act like he's the Haas of Hosses, I think is his current value proposition that he has, the Haas of Hosses, and he's never beaten me. Just saying. But, like, yeah. Like, I think that's where that rivalry stems from. It's just like we came in at the same time, we want to do the same thing. And, like, there's only so many people who, like, want to do that style.
Well,
and that's competition. And we have a good competition that's completely one-sided in my favor.
Well, it does seem like he brings out, more out of you. A lot of people can do, a moonsault, but you've done a lion salt.
Yes.
Not something you see every day on the Independence. So, could you tell us about when you first knew you could do a lion salt?
Alright, so this is funny. So we had a late night class with Hollow Wicked at the factory. And what happened was he had to go do some dark bidding. Like he got a call from Nas Muldoon and was like, "Hey, where are my sacrifices?" And he had to go deal with that. So we got trained by we had a class run by Cajun Crawdad. And if you know anything about Cajun Crawdad, is that he loves his insane high spots. And so all that class was us practicing, like, all right, let's see if you guys can do, like, the Chuck Taylor, like, bounce from the lower rope to the middle rope to the top rope moonsault, or, like, if you guys can do lion salts, or if you guys can do shooting star presses. Like, that was that whole practice. And we found out very quickly that I am rather good at high flying. So, like, we would just try stuff. And, like, one of the things we tried was lion salt, and I just immediately got it right off the bat. And, like, yeah, I love doing lion salts. I need to do them more in matches. Yeah, that's the story of how I found out that I could high fly, is that Cajun Crawdad ran a class, and then we all just did high fly stuff.
Alright, awesome. Scooter, you have a question.
Now, you say, of course, you've already proclaimed your love of tournaments. One such that you took part in happened during the pandemic. Can you tell us about the Contagion Cup?
Oh, yes. Contagion Cup was a lot of fun because, one, it was during the pandemic. I like this. I like the style of a tournament where it's like, okay, the first round's going to be like a 4-way, and then your next round's going to be a singles match, and then the finals is going to be a singles match. I think that adds a lot of diversity to a tournament more than just like, hey, these two really good wrestlers are going to wrestle each other, then these two really good wrestlers are going to wrestle each other, and whoever wins that, those two very good wrestlers are going to wrestle each other. I like the idea of
it's almost a pyramid style, I'd say.
Yes.
Going from 4, then
and
to,
2 to 2.
Yeah.
And it gives it more opportunity to have like fun things that happen in those matches. The Contagion Cup was a lot of fun because I didn't know I was going to be in it or that it was happening until I showed up. Like, I just kind of got booked. Like, I sent them all the COVID stuff. I sent them my Rapid and my PRN. And yeah, I showed up, and they're like, oh, yeah, it's a tournament today. And I'm like, oh, all right. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I didn't make it. I only didn't make it out of the first round in that tournament, but a lot of fun people. I got to wrestle Ron. I'm sorry, not Ron Voyage. Oh my God. Ron Voyage's tag partner. Why is his brain flying out of my head? But no, a lot of very fun people in that match. I enjoyed it a lot.
Dom Truex or Trajan Horn or Brad DeMail?
Trajan.
Trajan,
who's a lot of fun, and I've always loved hanging out with him.
Well,
yeah.
One tournament you got to the finals in was the 8-City Open.
Yes.
Shea McCoy and Big Pollux represented Philadelphia, correct?
City of Philly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, kind of, could you tell us about that tournament, what it meant to you to represent Philly, and obviously your tag team partner?
I'm gonna come out and say right now that you shouldn't be allowed to do a trios tournament if you don't have a team, or at least 2/3 of it is from Philly. Like, that's just a thing you shouldn't happen. Like, the legacy of like King of Trios and like a lot of the big trios teams that we see nowadays, especially now in like AEW, that they have a trios tournament. A lot of those people are in King of Trios. Like, you should just always have some Philly representation in your tournament if you're going to do a trios and you want it to feel authentic. That's not a dig at. I don't know how many trios tournaments are going on, and I swear to God, if any of you guys get my DMs about it, like, whatever, but like, book a trios team that's from Philly. I love Shea. Shea is probably one of my best friends in wrestling. They're amazing, they're fun, and then Big Calyx, like, how can you not love Big Calyx? I would like to meet the person who doesn't like Big Calyx and, like, I don't know, like, pick their brains, I guess. Like what does it say about you if you don't enjoy the biggest, right? And like, yeah, we rocked that tournament. It was very unconventional. I thought it was very funny that, like, out of all the trios that, like, you can grab from Philly, they grabbed one half of a tag team, Big Calyx and myself. And Weber Hatfield was there too. So it was very fun to be part of that trios tournament. Also almost win it. I Philly should have won. We got sloppy at the end there, but next year we got it.
Oh, absolutely. But I think
next year Philly, baby.
I think the question is Big Calyx handsome underneath that mask?
Oh yeah, Big Calyx is big.
Huh?
I don't understand the question. He's big.
No, but is he handsome underneath that mask?
He's very big.
Skinner, you have a question.
He's big.
Yes.
That's the answer Calyx would give, is that he's big. And it's the correct answer. And if you don't get meaning around that, then
you made James very happy with that response. Now, I had a question for another guest that I didn't get to ask, but this question, I will Burger King your face, James.
Whoa.
Now, you've competed, in fact, this year and around the end of 2021, you competed in a lot of UWFI matches.
Yes.
And for anybody who doesn't know, it's the spin-off of the UWF from Japan. The rule set attempts to give pro wrestling a more pure competition-driven style. But best equivalent I could say is the ROH Pure Championship and those matches.
I would throw ROH Pure. I don't know if you've ever seen Josh Barnett's Bloodsport.
Yes.
It's like a combination of those. Like those are big things to be like, yes, we're like that. But yeah, it's that type of like shoot style, like a cleaner professional wrestling, if that makes sense.
So, how does wrestling in a match, excuse me, under UWFI rules compare to a normal match? Is there more pressure because fans watching are expecting a normal 3 count, have to grasp the belief of a concept that is quite foreign to most? Or is there less pressure given the legitimacy behind the match type?
I think there's more pressure than in a standard match, because unlike most standard matches where like the goal, like ultimately the goal of regular professional wrestling is to show off. And that's not a dig at anyone, but the point of pro wrestling, standard like WWE, AEW, is a anything you can do, I can do better competition of dick pulling. Where it's like, you're trying to win and you're trying to prove, hey, this is why I'm awesome. What's really interesting about UWFI and what I like about it, why I think it's like more pressure, is that it can end at any time. Like, I've seen matches in UWFI that have gone like 10 seconds, and I've seen matches in UWFI that go like 15 minutes. And that's because the goal isn't to like, you're not there to like get your character over, you're not there to get your cool stuff in. You're there to win, and you're there to beat the piss out of the person who's across from you. So there's not as much like, hey, here's me showboating with my technical prowess, or here's me showboating with like how well I can put you in a submission, in a hold or a submission. The point is, like, hey, you gotta win because this other guy's coming for my throat. And you find that in regular wrestling, but it's so much more interesting when every single wrestler who's on the roster has that mentality of, I'm not here to show off, I'm here to go for the jugular and knock you out.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite match under WFI rules?
I have 2, and if listeners, you guys want to check it out, these are some of my favorite matches I've ever had. Me versus Josh Crane from the last Terminal Combat is one of my favorite matches I've ever had. And also me versus Derek Neal, which I don't remember what that show's called off the top of my head. But if you want to check out.
As the Rush Comes.
Yes, those 2 matches are phenomenal. I could wrestle Derek Neal and Josh Crane all day.
All right. James.
Well, can you tell us about playing the Nintendo Switch inside the ring during a match?
We're going to talk about this nerd. Alright, so the whole point of me playing the Switch inside the ring was I was mocking notable dork of wrestling, Big Game Leroy. Basically what I wanted to show was everyone talks about GIF wrestler Leroy, how crazy it is to wrestle with a Switch. Like, no, like, I'm a big dude and I'm athletic, but like, it's not that hard, it's not that impressive. Leroy needs to stop relying on gimmicks. The whole point was like, Leroy needs to stop relying on these gimmicks and needs to just come out and wrestle. And like, he's gonna come out and say that like he kicked my ass and he like went off as soon as he entered that. But like, look what happens when he doesn't have his Switch. Like, he can't say that I'm wrong for wanting him to be better. Because he came out and he fought and he didn't do any of this nonsense where he's playing, I don't know, like Kirby Land on his Switch. And he actually like came out and fought. Like, who would have thunk it? When you actually try. Like, that's all I ask of him. Is like to come out and try, and if it took me mocking him with his own gimmick to realize that, I'm glad I did it.
What was you playing, may I ask?
I wasn't playing anything.
Oh, okay.
I literally had the Switch off.
What?
I mean, I don't know if anybody can hear, but for that question and that question alone, I turned my Switch all the way up.
Oh boy, I hear it. I hear it.
So it's a recent addiction too. So
yeah, that's the thing I also don't want to get across. Like, I don't hate video games. I just don't think like if you're gonna step in a wrestling ring, you should take this with a like Like, we're all here to have fun, but, like, be here to wrestle, you know?
Right. No,
Like, be here, be present for this moment, because when I knock you out, I don't want your excuse to be, oh, no, I was dying in Super Metroid Prime. Like, whatever. Like, yeah, that's that.
Squirtle.
Yeah, that makes me think of, people sending you text messages, yeah, oh god, what's the, you were using hacks, I'm usually I have the video game terminology and it's leaving all my heads. Yes, I have more than one apparently. Okay. Tell us about the swimming pool battle royal.
That was... So, I don't remember a lot of that match. Mostly because I learned a very valuable lesson, which is that don't waterboard yourself.
Oh!
When I got thrown into the water with my mask on, I immediately waterboarded myself. And I was fully unable to breathe, and there's a fun cutaway. They cut away from me really fast because there's a point when I panicked. I'm like in 3 feet of water. Like immediately, like I had no way of breathing in my mask. So like, I immediately started panicking after that. If you want another fun tidbit, Pancakes can't swim.
Thank you for that.
And he agreed to be in a pool battle royal. And guess who had to save him when he wasn't able to swim when someone threw him off a diving board in the deep end of the pool? This guy. I had to go save him. So like, I don't know why he agreed to be in the pool battle royal. I don't know why he was like, hey, I can't swim, let me hang out at the deep end of the pool. Like, I don't know, man. Those are the only 2 tidbits I have from that. Other than that, it was a very fun match. I remember really liking it. I don't remember a lot about it, but I remember it being fun.
Alright. Okay. James.
Now, can you tell us about wrestling Alex Price? Because, he's pretty big on independence right now, and one of the biggest independent shows out there.
Yes.
So,
He's a star.
Can you tell us about that match?
That match was a lot of fun. Because very rarely do you meet someone in wrestling who has that same mindset of you that's like, go out there, we're going to fight, we're going to be loud, we're just going to punch each other. And like, I've met a few people in wrestling who really like that. I wasn't really expecting Alec to be one of those people, but 100% he brought it to me, and that match is a lot of fun. I have a lot of respect for Alec. I think he's the next big star on the independents, honestly, if I'm being perfectly frank. Like, the fact that he is not being scooped up by someone as we speak is a shame. Like, there's a few wrestlers who I would say that about that are currently on the independents, and Alec Price is one of them.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, the fact that AEW or WWE or Impact or even GCW aren't like booking him every single week is insane to me.
Scooter, you have a question.
When do you plan on getting around to watching UHF?
I don't know. I don't know what UHF stands for. So, I know it's Weird Al.
Mm-hmm.
I know it has to do with, like, cable TV. And I'm sure I would like it. Honestly, I'm kind of hoping Perry Von Vicious wants to watch it with me. So, like, I think I'm kind of, like, holding out hope that, like, I can get a date out of this. Like, oh no, Perry, I've never seen this movie.
And James, we could ask him, James.
Yeah, and then Perry's like, oh, let me fly back from my third Disney World trip, and we'll watch UHF.
Oh.
I think this is a Hallmark movie in the making.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I am very excited for that Weird Al movie, though. It looks absolutely hysterical.
Yes. Harry Potter as Weird Al.
Yeah, anything that's making fun of those musical, like, those musician, like, autobiographical movies, I'm all for.
For sure. Now you was trained by well, a part of your training was by the world famous Cheeseburger.
Yes.
Did he ever tell you to put a little bit more mustard on it?
No, matter of fact, he told me to put less mustard on it.
Really?
Cheeseburger, not a mustard guy.
Oh.
Cheeseburger's a ketchup guy. Cheeseburger likes ketchup.
And did you ever consider, has it ever been discussed of having a tag team between you and Cheeseburger called Cheeseburger with extra cheese?
Oh, no, it hasn't. I'll bring it up to him next time I see him, but I think, like, he has enough, like, pun tag team names. Like, what was the old one? It was him and Hot Dog Starks for a tag team forever ago. I'm pretty sure. I really hope I didn't just fever dream that. I'm pretty sure that was a thing.
I'm still waiting for somebody named a side of fries.
I'll pitch it to Pancakes. Pancakes, we need a lateral move you to another food gimmick.
Speaking of, gimmicks, you have a move called the Last Shaven Unicorn?
Yes.
Elaborate.
So when I was at Chikara, the person whose son I am is Mr. Zero, businessman extraordinaire, and father that I've never met. And his finishing move is the Last Shaven Unicorn. And so now I do the Last Shaven Unicorn as kind of like passing on the family torch, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all, but I don't know the backstory of the actual move name. I just know. Like, I wish I had a better story of, like, he was wandering in the woods one day and he found a shaved unicorn. He was like, oh, that's the last of them. I don't know.
Well, that's the stuff we're going with.
Technically, if you found it, wouldn't it have technically been the last unshaven unicorn?
No, it was shaven. Someone was shaving it as he walked through the grove.
And it was the last one?
Yes, it was the last.
Yeah.
Well, there had been a bunch of previous unicorns that have all gotten shaven, and this was the last one in the row.
Right.
So this was the last shaven unicorn.
Yeah. Maybe that was what the story was. The guy got tired of shaving the unicorn, and he said, yeah, come over, shave this unicorn. So he shaved the last shaven unicorn.
Last shaven unicorn, yeah.
Yeah. What's happening here? Scooter, you have a question.
And I've got one more before I get to the question I want to ask, where I probably won't shut up. Based on one of your last tweets,
oh boy,
I saw.
What was it?
Let's say you had time to do enough push-ups to communicate one last statement before the end of the world. What would that be?
So long and thanks for all the fish.
Yes! Yes, I love that!
That's the obvious answer, right?
Yes. Hitchhikers. Always don't go anywhere without your towel.
Yeah, don't go anywhere without your towel. Don't panic.
James, do you have one more before I go into complete nerddom?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Alright, it is once again time for that segment.
Oh.
Pancakes Zero Bizarre Adventure. Your pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
With the Doctor Who theme?
Yes. You're the first
Alright.
person to ever mention that.
It's the Doctor Who theme, man. How could you not mention it if you hear it? It's just like, who knew who?
You'd be surprised.
When's that coming out?
We've been doing this for like 2 years. Nobody ever said, "Oh, that's the Doctor Who theme."
That's Doctor Who theme.
This has nothing to do with Jim Neidhart.
No, nothing. Nothing to do with Jim Neidhart.
No.
Okay, so we went down to early in my career. This had to be like my top. This had to be like my first 10 matches, maybe. We went down to New South. It was me, Pancakes, at the time Boomer Hatfield, Avery Good, and there's another pair, and Devantes. We're all in the same car. Because we were all from Philly, we didn't like it, but we all had to drive with each other. A fun fact about Pancakes, and if you ever get him on this channel, you can ask him about that. He is a terrible driver. I've never felt the level of lack of personal safety that I have with Pancakes' driving. But anyway, so we're driving, and we're like, okay, Pancakes, the next stop. Like, first of all, I've heard rumors, and like everyone's been telling me we're going to go to this amazing like buffet that's in the South. I don't remember what it's called, which should tell you how this story goes. But I don't remember what it's called. And Pancake, and we were like, okay, Pancakes, some of us are going to sleep. This is the exit. Turn off at this exit so we can go to this place. So some of us fall asleep, and I wake up and I look at the road marker, and we're 5 exits away past where we were supposed to stop. And I went, Pancakes, like, what happened? And he gets very... So one thing you have to understand about Pancakes is that he doesn't like to admit that he's wrong, and will get very, like argumentative with you if you tell him he did something he was wrong. And he went, I didn't miss it yet. Like, we haven't passed it. Look, that's 97. And I'm like, Pancakes, the road markers are going up, not down. And that's when I found out Pancakes doesn't know how road signs work. Or exit markers. Another funny story that we had was, this was a weird one, was we were driving up to Paradigm for the first time, me, Shay, and Athamamata. And we drive, I think it's in Tennessee or Kentucky or one of those states. But it's like I think it's called the Creation Museum. And it's this museum that is dedicated to explaining where the dinosaurs fit into the Bible.
Oh.
And I don't remember what its name was, but it's literally like the Creationist Museum, I think is what it's called. And their whole thing is just like, here's where the dinosaurs fit in. Like, we found a bunch of fossils. Here's how Jesus explains that. And me and Shay died laughing about this museum. And we were like, we might miss our show because we have to stop at the Creationist Museum so we can have an explanation about where dinosaurs fit in the Bible.
Not to give this a free plug, it's the Creation Museum in Boone County, Kentucky.
Yes.
Don't go there.
They have like a life-size ark or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we passed that and we're just like, we might need to stop.
I mean, you can go if you'd like. If you'd like to.
I don't want to go, but like, at that moment, it was like 10 hours into that drive, we were just like, this is the funniest thing.
Yeah. I mean,
This is the
if I'm ever in that vicinity ever, I'll give it a Google.
Yeah, exactly. If you passed the sign that said the Creationist Museum, and it was like the like tagline of it is like, "We all love Jesus," and there's like two velociraptors next to the sign. Like, you're gonna look up what this is about.
Oh my god, that's such a visual.
Yeah, it's like it's the sign that was. It wasn't just like a church. It was like a sign that was like Creationist Museum, and then under it was like, "Find out where the dinosaurs fit in the Bible." And I was just like, "What?"
I would have said, yes, absolutely. What is this accent?
I'm they fit under, under it, as a beautiful amber ashtray.
And if you don't feel like going, but you want to hear all about it, there's a video on YouTube that I don't know the creator's name, but I'm sure if you type in Creationist Museum, she does like a full breakdown of like the museum and why it's all like hypocritical bullshit. And it's a fantastic watch if you guys ever want to watch that.
I love stuff like that. All right.
Oh, it's good. Get naughty on me.
All right.
What's up?
Okay, now
we're getting nerdier than the Doctor Who theme and
yes,
and Hitchhikers.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Now, I saw about you wanting to attend Dragon Con, or wrestle at Dragon Con.
Absolutely.
Now, funny story, I am part of a clan called the Smoking Dragons. Our founder, and I'll call him a different name in a little bit, is Rico Constantino Jr.
Okay.
Son of former WWE superstar Rico.
Yes.
I met him before I even knew he was Rico's son. That's got nothing to do with it. They are very heavy Dungeons and Dragons players.
Yes.
So much to the point that they have numerous campaigns that have been aired live on Twitch. They're on YouTube, for others to watch. They're in the middle of doing one right now. They did one involving Pokemon that Nintendo actually sent a cease and desist.
I was about to say, you can't. I felt like that's how all those stories end. It was like, we were doing a Pokemon thing.
Now, here's the thing. I consider myself a nerd, but there are three things I can't get nerdy about. James knows it's anime, Lord of the Rings, and Dungeons and Dragons. However, 1 month from this recording, technically 1 month, 1 day, October 11th, I have been invited to take part in my first ever D&D campaign. Rico will be the dungeon master, and from what I understand, it's kind of an initiation rite. The clan has dragon names. Rico is Nova Dragon, and others have other dragon names. I think that's what I'm getting mine. But having never played a game of D&D in my life, I'm just starting to figure out how to use D&D Beyond, trying to decide what class. I've given my character a name, Corticus Tarkin. That's how far I've gotten.
Very nice.
What advice would you give to a first-time player going on their first campaign?
This is actually very funny because I run a wrestler's D&D table, where I would say 5 out of the 6 people I have are all new Dungeons and Dragons people. I think the most basic thing I would say, like, piece of advice is just like go in and have fun. Like, immerse yourself in your character, and like go in and like don't get too stuck up on like all the mechanical stuff, because like not everyone knows all the mechanics. I DM a game and I don't know all the mechanics. Unless you're Matt Mercer, who can rattle off all the mechanics off the top of his head. Like, but just go in, have fun, be present as your character, like, and just roll with it. Like, figure out what your character's motivation is and what you want to do with that character, and immerse yourself in that world and have fun. Like, that's what I think a lot of people forget. That's what D&D is about, is having fun and like telling a good story.
I have learned it is going to be pirate themed.
Yes.
So it's not exactly going to revolve around elves and questing, so to speak, but it'll be about, pillaging and plundering and going after that booty. Arr, arr.
My current players are currently enthralled in a pirate tournament, so
Nice.
I fully get it. Yeah, like, literally just have that fun, like, jump into your character, be present, and like don't be afraid to ask questions, and like don't be afraid as a new player, like if you're not comfortable playing your character or you don't know what to do in a moment, to use your roles. Like not every player is going to, not every DM, like at least me as a DM, if you're not comfortable doing like a performance role, or like acting out a performance, or acting out an investigation, or acting out an intimidation, like don't be afraid just to ask your DM, like, hey, can I just roll for this? Like, can I just make an intimidation roll? Because I have players who aren't like fully comfortable doing that stuff yet, and I'm still like, yeah, like if you want, like, fully feel the need, like if you're not sure what to say in the moment, but you know what you want to do, like, use those roles. Like, like I'm not, like, at least me as a DM, I'm not going to dock you for like not knowing. So like I'll roll, like they'll roll, and then I'll be like, okay, now if you rolled a 15, which is pretty good. Like, if you want to say something now, like, as a DM, it's my job to make my silly characters now, the NPC that you're trying to intimidate, be intimidated by whatever silly thing's about to come out of your mouth because you're uncomfortable, and that makes it fun for your players.
I love that. The one thing Rico does as a DM is he doesn't exactly have all the choices in front of him, but he makes the players think. Like, he'll start to, they'll ask him a question about such and such, and he'll start to write something, and he'll make them second think, but he's just scribbling.
Oh yeah, I do that all the time.
That is some great and sound advice. Oh,
it's what I do. Yeah, literally, I'll scribble. What I really like about DMing is just like I get to play like 30 characters, and I have to keep them all straight in my head, because I take the most notes I have for any one character is like a name, a class, a level, and then like there's like their modifiers, then like 4 bullet points about them that are usually like their like motive, and like this is good stuff if you're like a new player, like if you feel like you have trouble maintaining your character and your internally, like have a little flashcard that has like your motive and like what your character likes, what your character dislikes. Like, there's no shame in having that like in front of you. like, so you have that, like, yeah, like, for all my NPCs, like, I have some, like, if you ever interview any of my players, like, it's Pancakes, Travis Huckabee, Shay McCoy.
Oh, we've talked about Travis about this.
Shay McCoy, Weber Hatfield, Riley Shepard, like, Abby Jane. My NPCs are absolutely insane. Like, I made a tweet a while ago that all my characters are going goblin mode at all times. And it's just because, like, I find that fun, and I find that easier to have characters bounce off of.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, as a DM, like, it's up to me to engage you in the story. So, like, I really like that feeling of, like, you say something, then the character I have reacts to it. Like, even if you're not sure what to say, like, my character has a reaction to what you're doing. And what has Travis said about D&D?
Well,
now I'm curious.
Travis was shocked that we did such in-depth research that we found a record of him playing D&D in high school, or at least a clip of him talking about it in playing in high school. And he loved
that is good research.
And he loved it so much that he put a tweet out to, like, all the other audio, well, we're the only audio experience, but all the other podcasts, that this is what you need to do. Do your damn research like these guys.
And I'll second that motion. You guys have been asking a lot of really good questions, a lot of really, like, a lot of podcasts just kind of comments like, where did you start? But you guys came in with a lot of really interesting questions that are, like, things I haven't even thought about in forever. And it's been so much fun just reminiscing about all this and talking about it.
We like to keep it
like, it's amazing. Like, I really like it.
We like to keep it interesting, for our guests and our listeners as well.
Absolutely. And it's amazing.
Scooter, are you turning the reins back to me, or do you have any more questions?
Any other D&D questions?
Just one more thing. Roll for perception check.
I don't have my dice near me right now.
Well, you know what?
I have D&D tomorrow, so my stuff's not... I have, like, note cards in front of me because I'm writing out, like, stuff for tomorrow. But, like, I don't have, like, my actual dice.
No, I'm...
Hold up. I do have D&D Beyond open, though. Hold up. I got this.
James, I'm handing the reins over back to you. We are exiting Nerdum at Warp 1.
All right.
Well, let's get into another Battle Box of Nerdum. That being Battle Box.
I got a 13.
Huh?
I got a 13.
The interview continues.
Yep.
Yeah, let's go.
Can you tell us about your love of Battle Box?
So when I was, like, a kid, when I was a little handsome lad.
Of course.
Yes, and naturally. That's not true. I only became handsome, like, after college. And that is just a bona fide fact. Like, I was not a pretty child or a teenager. Like, I became a pretty adult. I used to love a lot of that programming that was on Spike TV. That was, like, the kind of, like, kid-friendly side of it, if you remember that stuff. Like Takashi's Castle and, like, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they always showed was old BattleBots.
Yeah.
From, like, 2000. I remember watching BattleBots. I remember the first game I ever had, like, on a Game Boy Advance was, like, the BattleBots game. And it was really bad. But it was, like, an old game. So I always loved BattleBots. And then, like, after Dynamite, it was just like, BattleBots is back, and I immediately lost my shit. Like, I don't even remember what matches happened on that show when they announced BattleBots was back. But I just remember being super hyped for the fact BattleBots was on, and now it's, like, literally what I watch after Dynamite.
It comes on the Discovery Channel now.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
And
and
if you have, like, the Discovery Plus at all the previous episodes and seasons. It's been.
You know what you just did, James?
What did I do?
You just sold me a Discovery Plus subscription. So like Discovery Plus should be giving you some kickback.
And they just had the Golden Bolt.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
I will not spoil it for you.
My boy, I have two boys. I love Ribot.
Oh,
Ribot needs some merch. I know. I saw him in the trailer. They show him getting wrecked, and I'm like, oh no. And I like Witch Doctor. But Witch Doctor's like an old bot. Like I remember a bot called Witch Doctor like back when I used to like watch like in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I used to love Tombstone because he
Yes.
used to be so freaking destructive. It was like one hit and you were dead.
Yes.
Like nobody came close to Tombstone. But it seems like now, because I've been the reboot started like in 2015. So.
Oh my god, I have a lot of catching up to do.
Yes, you do. But now it seems like they're just, everybody's upgraded since then, and Tantrum is fantastic, and I really like any game at this point.
So this is a bot that I don't think's still around, but I don't know why this one I distinctly remember. But it's a little square with 4 wheels, and it just had like a hammer.
I think you're talking about what's it called?
Is it Defender?
Hammersmith.
Copperhead? No.
Yeah, it was literally. I remember just from old. It was just like a square metal box, and it just had a hammer on top of it.
Yeah,
and now they're like spitting fire. And it's like how far BattleBots have come.
They're still around, but they changed the weapon to like a spinner disc at the end of the hammer because they wasn't winning matches when they went to the judges because they didn't deal enough damage in the eyes of the judges.
What's it called?
It's Hammersmith or Flamesmith or.
God,
I just can't remember.
I also remember really liking Bronco. I don't know if Bronco is still around.
Bronco's retired, unfortunately.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
They're coming back with a new design, but the old Bronco model is retired.
I loved the fact that Bronco's one form of offense was just that he flipped people really hard. Like, I loved that about old Bronco. It was like his whole offense was just like, I'm gonna get you off your wheels.
Well, there's have you seen Hydra yet? They're kind of.
I have not.
They're the new Bronco because they flip people so high.
That's all I want.
I mean, I don't know. Like I say, I really like Glitch.
Glitch is fun.
Glitch is the underdog that the little engine that could. I mean, honestly, nobody saw them coming.
If there are any fans listening right now, I would love a Ribot shirt. There's no merch for Ribot. But someone should design it. BattleBots needs more merchandise. I don't think they have any. I think they have like stuff with like their own like logos on it.
I think you would have to go like to Ribot's official page, maybe?
They don't have a Twitter, which is a big mistake.
Oh, that definitely. Oh.
Right?
Yeah. Oh.
Like.
Right. Could you tell us about being a cinnamon roll?
That was a joke that previously mentioned all around Cinnamon Roll Travis Huckabee made once. And I thought it was so funny that I just made it my Twitter bio. Like, I'm a big old sweetie, but I'm also, like, just an absolute force to be reckoned with. And I like that I'm a cinnamon roll, look like a cinnamon roll, and could actually kill you.
I like it too.
I like it. If it wasn't so much of a mouthful, I would have an announcer say it.
Alright, Scooter, you have the last question.
Yes. We're calling this the colossal career question.
Oh boy.
Now, let's say hypothetically,
That's a lot of pressure.
they are making a movie about your wrestling career. The Handsome Max Zero wrestling career
The movie.
Every, of course, the title will be,
The
changed.
Handsome Max Zero wrestling career, the movie. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Part 0.5.
Part 0.
Every great blockbuster has a great soundtrack to it.
Boy.
What are 3 to 5 songs that would appear on the soundtrack to the Handsome Max Zero wrestling career movie?
You're gonna make me pull up my Spotify.
You would not be the first.
Can I do a cop-out answer? Can I just get Eddie Money to do my soundtrack? Can I just get Eddie? Can someone just my movie doesn't need to be anything. Just Tarzan, Disney Tarzan, my movie. And I just want Eddie Money to sing songs about my life. Basically, I want an AMV. My movie's 6 AMVs with Eddie Money doing the background music for it.
But do we?
I think we could accept that answer, Scooter.
I think I just want Eddie Money to do all of my music.
So do we get "Take Me Home Tonight"?
Oh yeah, that's the big moment.
And I had I had a second popular song, and it just left my head.
That's the big moment song when they.
Oh crap! The second one that it was on the radio all the time. I used to.
Baby, hold on to me.
That's Michael McDonald, isn't it?
No, that's Eddie Money.
That's Eddie. Wow. Okay.
Will be.
2 Tickets to Paradise. There.
Yes. Yeah, just every Eddie Money song. My soundtrack is just why is Eddie Money every song? It's just because, Yeah, no. Eddie Money, whole soundtrack.
Actually, I love that. I absolutely love that. Part 2, Scooter.
Okay, now that we've got the soundtrack, it's time to make some casting decisions.
Jason Momoa.
There you go.
Okay, James, part 3.
I know this. I know the answer. I know the answer all these heathens out here are looking for.
Okay. Jason Momoa before Aquaman or after?
Either, I guess. He was hot regardless.
Have you seen...
I guess Khal Drogo.
Have you seen any of his movies prior to Aquaman?
None of his yes, Conan the Barbarian's one. I know he's not an exceptional actor, but I love him. I think he brings my energy and my handsomeness.
I recommend you check out a film called Debug, where he plays an evil AI program in a spaceship.
Ooh. I'm looking at it right now. 4.3 on Rotten Tomatoes. Let's go.
Now, you're obviously getting played by Jason Momoa, who is cast as the supporting actress. Okay, now you are Jason Momoa. Who's the supporting cast?
Yes. It's hard. Do you want actors for these people, or do you want
Yes,
just who is the supporting cast? Oh boy, I don't know. I just want to pick funny answers now. Oscar Isaac as Pancakes. Oh, what's her name? Her name just literally flew out of my brain.
It's happening a lot today.
I don't know actors. Kat Denning as Shay McCoy.
Okay.
Ooh.
Ryan Reynolds as Weber Hatfield.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a fun movie. I think that would be like the main supporting cast, because you can get whoever you want for the Hawks, Razor, and let's just say.
What about Travis?
Oh, who would be Travis? Oh, that's a hard one. If you guys have any suggestions, throw them in.
I've got someone. I'm not sure if it would make Travis upset or not.
I would honestly went with Ryan Reynolds as Travis, but that's obviously taken. So maybe. Alright, so I was thinking, Travis would be Ryan Reynolds, but obviously that's taken. So.
Oh, you missed it.
Oh, I missed it. What did I miss?
He selected Matt Damon.
Matt Damon is Travis.
That works perfectly. I love that.
And then Henry Cavill as Matt McCaskey.
That makes perfect sense. Alright. This sounds like a great freaking movie.
There we go.
Alright. On to a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stand?
It belongs on pizza. Anyone who doesn't think that is being a contrarian. Like, anything can go on pizza. Like, you're telling me, like, you're not cool with fruit, but, like, if I threw a full Caesar salad on a pizza, you're cool with that? Like, deep breaths, guys. That's my thought on it. It's just, like, everyone who's like, oh, boy, you can't have a fruit on a pizza. It's like everything else goes on a pizza. Like
I mean,
literally,
technically, it's made with a fruit sauce.
Yeah, like.
Not wrong about that.
You know what's also gross on pizza? Baked ziti, and some of you guys order that. So like, don't.
Yeah, I'm a New Yorker, and we had a place. I worked at a frozen yogurt shop, and we had a pizzeria next door that was famous for their Caesar salad slices. They actually had a Caesar salad pizza.
See, I've had that before. It's not bad. It's just like, who wants to eat a hot Caesar salad?
I mean, it was all great until I saw a mouse in the corner one time, and then never again.
Yes, pineapple belongs on pizza. Like, come on, guys. Like, there's so many gross food takes out there. I don't understand why we're arguing about if fruit belongs on pizza. I've seen what some people eat, and you're judging me for eating pineapple on pizza. Like okay, like let's take your peanut butter pickles somewhere else. I'll stick with my pineapple on pizza.
What's your spirit Pokemon?
What's my spirit Pokemon?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to say Quagsire.
Oh, okay.
You can't see my background right now, but my background is just a bunch of Whoopers. Because I love Whooper. I love Whooper and I love Quagsire. I love the fact that they just gave up on its face. They designed 4/5 of a Pokemon, and then they were like, what do we do for its face? It's like, we got this. It's 2 dots in a line.
Yep.
I love it so much. I love them.
There are some really bizarre Pokemon out there.
There we
There you
are.
go. Yeah.
There we are.
Uh,
There's some Quagsire. I love him. Look at him. It's a salamander. It's a big old salamander. How can you hate that?
weirdest question you'll be asked in a wrestling interview. Would you ever
Alright.
consider wrestling a Raw? Not Dwayne Johnson, Scooter.
Not the country.
An actual Raw.
Yeah, I'd wrestle a Rock.
Alright.
I would, yeah. I'd wrestle a Rock.
Answers, then.
Well,
Yeah,
just
I'd wrestle a Rock. Do some people say they won't wrestle a Rock?
I mean, some people, yeah. Some people, it's conditional on how much money they get paid.
What did Travis say?
I don't think we had that question when...
Yeah, we started asking that question after we learned about somebody actually wrestling a Rock, James.
Yes, this is correct. And
I would wrestle a Rock.
that person was a one-cycle Mike that wrestled an actual Rock for over 15 minutes. And what was a Tungsten Man match, an Iron Man match that lasted for 2 weeks.
I think in wrestling we've gone to the point where we have, like, ladders winning belts. I think we can't really be too surprised if someone's wrestling a Rock.
What about if he doesn't beat the Rock?
That's funny.
Well, he went to a draw with The Rock in a 2-week-long Iron Man match.
Very nice.
Yeah,
I
he
like
had
it.
a match in between the match with the Rock. But,
Very nice.
we love Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for THUG? THUG.
I do not.
Scooter?
T is for terrible. H is for hell. U is for ugly. And G is for jail. 'Cause a thug can't spell.
Love it. Love it so much.
Yeah, we love Tracy on the show.
He was such a gem.
On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, hopefully I'm at, like, I would love to continue being on the Indies. I would love to be in Japan. I would love to be part of All Japan or Big Japan or New Japan. Being international, being recognized as a bigger wrestler. Like right now, I consider myself kind of maybe a mid-tier wrestler. Like I'm not in terms of I'm a bad wrestler or I'm not talented, but in the sense of in terms of popularity in wrestling, I'm not a top tier wrestler. People do know about me, but it's not I'm not a Masha or an Alec or a Mikowski or any of or a Trish Adore or anyone like that. I think I would like to be on that upper echelon. Maybe signed in 5 years. We'll see where it takes us, but yeah. That's where I would like to be.
And what is a match people should go out of their way to see that shows off what Handsome Max Zero is all about?
I would check out my lab championship match against MV Young, which happened at Chemical MV if you are looking for it on IWTV. And also, if you want to look on YouTube, you can find my match at Camp Leapfrog, where it's me versus my eternal rival Devantes at at Heavyweights, which was a show that I don't think ever actually got debuted on IWTV, but our match is available on YouTube. I would say those two matches are a good summation of what I'm all about, the wrestling style I like to do, and a little bit of character work too.
And the one on YouTube against Devantes, I'll put that in the description of the video below, so people could watch it if they haven't already, or want to rewatch it after this interview.
If you want to see like a little bit less handsome than how handsome I am now, Max, go watch that match. That match is a lot of fun.
Alright.
And I still consider it one of my best matches.
And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
Yes.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
Tomohiro Ishii.
Oh, sweet. Worst wrestler.
That's so subjective. Can I pass on these questions? I don't really want to.
Scudo, give him the default.
You have selected Eva Marie.
Alright, I'll live with that. Like, I don't like that level, I don't know. I can't think of like a really like person who I would be like, this is the worst person I've ever seen. It's like,
no, that's the default answer because it's the most set name
this is the most
without giving a prompt to.
Yes.
Your main event in WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
WrestleMania, Sheamus.
Oh, cool. If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
My own. I love my entrance.
Alright,
I love my entrance theme so much.
Let's say there's a copyright issue, they can't find
Ooh,
it.
Eddie Money's coming after me.
Exactly.
Eddie wants more money.
Eddie wants more money. Who's this handsome Max Zero guy? What do you mean I scored his movie?
He's also coming back as a zombie, so...
He's coming back as a zombie, yeah. If I could come out to anyone's theme... It doesn't make sense because his name's in it, but the best WWE theme the last 10 years is Cassius Ohno. So let's go with that. If you could rework that song to have Handsome Max Zero instead of Cassius Ohno, I feel like the syllables are close enough. Like let's do that.
Oh no. Handsome Max
Zero.
There you go.
Zero. Yeah, just do that. One of the best themes of all time. Cassius Ohno.
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
I'm sorry, what? Could you repeat that?
Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Subjective.
Okay. We also would have accepted is quite good on toast.
Right? Yes, it's subjective, ultimately.
Squash. Fruit or vegetable?
Squash is a vegetable.
It's a fruit.
I'm sure it is, but like, it's a vegetable in my heart.
Well, you're now officially part of Squash Squad, and that means a hell of a lot more.
Yeah, let's go.
New Japan wrestler Taichi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
I think someone should be brave and like continue to shrink ring. I enjoy that Taichi is coming out every single year with smaller and smaller ring gear, and I hope that he continues to push boundaries until he is wearing nothing but like a thong.
It's practically a dong at this point. And it's
Oh, I know. I love Tai Chi. Like, but I hope he continues to push boundaries like that, and it becomes like a norm.
I don't think he's getting new gear. I think it's just the same amount of the same pair of trunks that he just hasn't changed for all these years.
Yeah, and he's been getting beefy. He's a big old boy.
This is true.
I love Tai Chi so much, but like he's got more muscly than he has big. I don't want to say beefy. Like he's gotten very muscly over the pandemic.
Yes.
Love Tai Chi. Dangerous Techers is so much fun.
And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
I've never had to talk about Darby Allin.
And that is the correct answer. That will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with us.
Thank you.
And of course, once again, where can we find you on social media and your merchandise?
If you want to find me on social media, my social media is Handsome Max Zero. That's Handsome Max Zero, and that's the same on both Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to find my merch, you can find it at Brainbuster Tees.
And no need to be typing that into your Google machine. Those links will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. Simply click the link, a new tab on whatever device you are on will come up. You have no excuse. You've been listening to him for an hour and a half. Buy a damn shirt.
Yeah, buy my merch. Buy a fanny pack with a cat on it.
Buy a fanny pack, damn it.
Yeah, buy my fanny packs.
Of course, if you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, or on YouTube and Castbox. Of course, this was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us tomorrow as we interview Dante Drago. And you can follow the show at Wrestling with E both on Twitter and Instagram. On Twitter, you'll get notifications on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. You can follow me at JamesJ993. You can follow Felico at IamFelico. And where can we find Scooter?
As always, find me on Twitter at Scooter Dust. Find me, James, and Ryan Dust hosting The Remix on YouTube, a premium audio companion experience for alternate commentary for all your WWE Premium Live event needs. The next time we come to you, October the 8th, the Extreme Rules Remix, and now October the 11th, the debut episode of my first D&D campaign. It happens along with Rico Constantino Jr. and the rest of the Smoking Dragons clan. Twitch.tv/Smoking Dragons.
Alright, Handsome, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment.
Alright.
For all very special guests, Handsome Max Zero, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.